Welcome to Terminal 234, everybody. It's Fey on the mic with
Dolapo here. What's up? What's going on, people?
Dolapo. There's so much, as usual, going on. So I feel like we should just have a rundown. Actually, I'm going to be like in the passenger seat, I feel, because you have so many topics you brought to my attention. Okay. So how about we start off with my favorite, actually, the pastor, what's his name?
Pastor Kingsley,
yep.
Yeah.
Let's hear about it.
Yeah, so Pastor Kingsley actually just had, I guess he's a popular pastor in Nigeria.
Okay.
And he posted, or not he posted, he was doing one of his sermons.
But like, what makes him popular? Just...
I don't know. He's just popular.
I
never heard of
on
him
social media or like.
I think so. I think he has a pretty big following.
Okay.
But yeah, he was basically just saying that women were made for marriage. Women naturally want to get married and naturally want that kind of companionship, while men just want sex, essentially. And the way that it's supposed to be, the way that we're created to be, is that women are supposed to not give sex until marriage, so that men get married to them, so that way everyone is satisfied, right? So if you don't have sex with men before marriage, they're not gonna be crazy, and you're not gonna get your heart broken
because they won't be able to find women to have sex with.
Exactly, and they're gonna be forced to marry you, and then once they marry you, now they can get sex, and now they're happy, and now you're married as a woman, so you're happy, and everything is good. And it was basically just saying that in the world that we live in today, the problem with a lot of women is that they're given sex before marriage, and then they're wondering why men don't want to marry them. What do you think?
So in his reality, we live in a symbiotic world where men want just one thing, women want just one thing, and both of us should be exchanging those things like goods and services.
I would say not to simplify it that much.
That's what I just heard. Just saying.
I think that what he's really trying to say is maybe men are more driven by that, and women are more driven by
the opposite.
Exactly.
Thing. Okay. What do you think?
I think it's kind of true. I don't know if I would put it like, I don't know if I would go as far as saying that's why there's so many like unmarried people. That's why like it's harder for people to get married at a younger age because it's just out there. Yeah. But there's definitely like huge elements of truth.
Okay, but I feel like since the dawn of time, there's been fornication. Like,
there has, but so do you think it was always been this much? Okay.
I will say yes. The idea of casual sex has quadrupled.
It's casual. Literally, there was a time when sex was never casual. You couldn't even. There wasn't a term. Now, and casual sex. And you
felt more norm. Guilt at one point with partaking in that. You know, before marriage. Okay, exactly. So there is a point there, but I don't know that men would want to marry more for the right reasons. At least, like, sure, maybe they want to get married more, so to a certain end, to get one thing out of it. But who's to say that will result in happy marriages? But if you're really not motivated by the person and what they're bringing to the table, and yet just, the one.
But do you think that if men are like, okay, I can't have sex with any women. Let's say somehow all women were like able to be like no sex before marriage.
Okay, perfect worlds.
Don't you think that men would be like, okay, since I can't have sex with just any woman, I have to get married first. Now I have to be more careful.
But that's what I'm saying. Who's to say they're not, if they're fully motivated by sex, and that's pretty much the only driving factor to them getting married.
But maybe the biggest.
Okay, the biggest driving factor to getting married. Then who's to say they're actually choosing partners for a well-rounded reason?
But then you're not going to choose a partner just because of sex. You're going to choose a partner that you
want. That's what I'm saying. Who's to say that? Let's say no woman is having sex with you, and yet there's this like primal urge in you to have sex as soon as possible.
So you think in that scenario they're just going to marry the first woman they see? Because I wouldn't think that's how it would work.
Not necessarily the first, but I will say there will be some expedition to it. They will rush into it. That's why there were.
You don't think that's good?
Well, I don't necessarily think it is, because just because you're married doesn't mean you're in a happy marriage.
Of course.
A lot of people will say that divorce rates have increased a lot. But I think it's also because we're now in a society where it's not as taboo to get a divorce. I don't think it's like, lo and behold, there's just way more unhappy marriages than there ever was. So I'm like, I don't necessarily think that just because you find a man that wants to marry you because of sex and other things, that means you're gonna have a happy marriage.
Let's take a step back then. Let's maybe not be as strict as what he said.
All right.
Do you think that sex before marriage is a bad thing or good thing? Neutral.
I would say I'm neutral.
Neutral.
You know, that's my favorite answer.
Yeah. Why? Why would it be neutral? Because I think.
You think it's bad?
I could see how it's bad. Of course, I can see how what he's saying.
I too can see how it's
essentially
bad.
If men, and I mean, we can kind of say this is true on some level. Maybe not all men, right? Never all men, but some percentage of men, if all they care about is sex, which we know that there are men that not all they care about, but they're highly driven by that. Yeah. If they're able to have sex with whoever they want, then they don't want to get married because they're like, well, I have everything I need. I don't need to get married.
Good point. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it's bad, nor do I think it's good, because there are relationships that thrive where there was intimacy prior to marriage, and there's relationships that they waited, and because they waited, you know, it was almost to their detriment in the sense that they were motivated highly by that one thing. They got it, you know, early into the relationship or marriage, and then they realized, okay, maybe I don't really like this person.
So do you think? So what you're telling me is that
I don't necessarily. I can't say.
You're telling me you can like someone, you can like everything about someone, but then sex could be the thing that changes everything. Is that what you're telling me?
Sure, but no, I was really saying that I know people, or I know of situations where sex is introduced to the relationship very early, and they get married, like John Legend and Chrissy Teigen, for instance. Apparently, the first time they had sex is the first day they met. Now we know them to be one of the best couples in Hollywood. Whereas I know situations where they did wait till marriage. They did wait till the ring. And I mean, the couple I'm going to say, they're not divorced, nor I don't know if they're ever going to get divorced, but Hailey Baldwin and Justin Bieber, apparently they waited to get married. I think
they're trying to get divorced. I'm pretty sure I saw like a thing.
Really? I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm pretty sure I saw a thing that said that they're about to call it quits after 6 months. I don't know how true this is.
We don't know. And again, a lot of this is probably speculation because they're so young and people were already reserved about their getting together. But yeah, with them, it's like apparently a huge factor in Justin Bieber getting engaged to her was because he wanted to have sex with her.
Really?
Yes.
Who said that?
He's like a born again Christian. That? Yeah, he said it in an interview. I don't remember which magazine.
So he said that
I think it was Vogue.
Got engaged to her because he wanted to
have sex with her? No, it wasn't because, but it was like after about 3 months of being together, he's like, I'm going to go crazy here. Yeah. You know? And he's saying he loves the woman, but it's like expedited something he might have not done otherwise.
Do you think that that's maybe because he's already
experienced
it? He's already experienced it. Do you think that it would be a different scenario if he already had what he was trying to do when he met her? If he already had that mindset from the beginning, but he never had sex, do you think it would still be the same thing where he feels like he's about to go crazy?
I think it adds to it. You don't know what you're craving unless you've craved it before and you've satisfied that craving.
So you can't miss something you never had.
Kind of. Okay. But there are like young, I don't want to say children, young adults who are like, let's say 20, 21, 22, who again also rush into marriage. Like, I want to finally do the deed, but I can't unless, it's sanctified under the eyes of God. Okay. So that's why it's like, I'm not, okay. And again, this man, let me just debunk a little bit of his thing anyway, because in my head, it's true. Men are highly motivated by sex. That's true. But I can't say the same with the second part where women are only motivated by marriage.
Say highly.
Or, excuse me, highly, okay? Highly.
Okay, so you don't think women want to get married more than men? Because, I mean, that's what we're doing. That's what we're comparing.
But, okay, he's saying that there's almost extremes in both senses, in the sense that, like, let's say marriage is number 4 on a man's list and sex is number 1. I don't know what's in between. And then vice versa for a woman. Whereas I don't think the disparity is that much or that large. Okay. I don't think women want to get married so much more than men do, to the extent that it should be bargained for sex. Because I think that's just almost something that's been perpetuated in society, because again, women are usually more open to monogamous relationships, but that's not, at the expense of being in a monogamous relationship with somebody that they feel like checks all of the boxes. I don't think women are like, I don't care who I get married to, how I get married. What it's like,
But don't you think women are more likely to get married just to get married? Like, don't you think women are more likely to rush into marriage because they really want, like, I think that
if I'm being honest with myself, yeah. So because a woman is motivated by a ring more than a man is motivated to give the ring.
A lot of stuff about marriages and weddings, like,
it is catered towards women.
Yeah, like, that's true. Even just the engagements, not even the marriage, just the engagement.
That's why I use the ring thing. Yeah, the whole engagement
thing.
Women
care so much more about that
than the actual wedding. Yeah, but I don't think it's like, I don't know. For me, my issue with the argument is that it seems like these two things are used as bargaining chips, and usually that means both sides I guess, stand to gain something from the other.
Yes.
And that is true, but I feel like he's doing it at too much of an extreme.
So you think it's true, but as long as it's not too extreme. So it's true. You just don't like that it sounds so extreme, but you know that it's true. What he's saying, the where it's maybe not where it's coming from. I don't know where it's coming from, but the general concept of it of men want sex more than women do, women want marriage more than men do, and so we essentially trade off. Yeah, I think that's kind of true.
So do you? Okay, how about this part?
Okay,
I'll let you go first.
You saw what's that movie? Act Like a Man, Think Like a Woman, whatever it's called.
I haven't watched it yet. Think Like a Man, I think, or what?
You haven't seen that movie?
No, not Think Like a Man. Is it the new one you're talking about with the Taraji P. Henson? Oh, Think Like a Man. Yes, that's
with Kevin Hart, like the one that started all the black.
I was thinking of What Man Want. Man Want. Whatever. Okay.
The Steve Harvey book.
Yeah. Think Like a Man.
Wasn't that one of his things was like, oh yeah, like don't have sex until so many days? Why would that be a thing if it wasn't the way we just described?
And you're right. There is some truth to him. I guess, like you just mentioned, I think you said my theory the best. Like, there's truth to it, but he almost treats it at too much of an extreme.
Okay.
So maybe we need to reel it back a little bit. But do you think he's right in saying that women maybe should just put on the chastity belts, end sexual relationships with all men, and hope that everything gets better?
I think that a lot of women should consider it. I think that a lot of women should consider it, depend on who the person is, but they should definitely consider it. Like, let's say as a woman, right? How many women do you know, personally, not personally, that ended up being in a relationship with a man and had sex too early, and now the man doesn't want anything more serious, and then the girl wants a whole serious relationship. Yeah. Like, happens all the time.
But I also like what I was saying with Chrissy Teigen and John Legend before. I also feel like we sometimes just choose to say big overarching messages and expect for it to just work for all situations. And I don't think that's the case. I do think, yes, there are, in most instances, a guy will be like, oh, there's nothing fun anymore, considering there's no more of a chase. Yeah. You've given me what I was looking for. But if a man was really, truly ready to get married, that wouldn't be, like, you having sex with him would not be the reason he doesn't want you anymore.
It won't be the reason, but it gives him, like, something less that he needs to work for. Or not, I don't want to say work for, because that's not, like, the right way to think about it. But it gives him something less to look forward to. Right? Because it's like, there's all these things, like if you think of all the things that you want in a relationship, intimacy is always part of it. Sex is like a huge part of intimacy. Yeah. If you can get that piece before the marriage, then
what's the point of it?
No, what's the point? But like that's one.
But let me just say though, like in his example or in his theory, whatever, he's expecting most, if not every woman to say, like, we're done with this. Let's force these men to quote unquote work for this. But we all know that very barred sexual societies don't thrive, like where there is this cloak and dagger thing to having sexual relationships and all of that. Like, for example, with the Catholic Church, a lot of people will say what's going on in there is rampant because there is this mystique to sex, and this lack of open acknowledgement that is just part of society. That's true. It's a known thing that the more you try and suppress things that are innate, like human, it's not gonna work. It's gonna have the opposite effect. That's true.
Opinion. I can see that.
So I don't know that it's definitely gonna work. What he's saying.
I don't think it's a solution, but I think
at all.
He's just saying from the beginning of times, that's how things are supposed to be.
Who cares? Like, we're not trying to make the world great again. Like, there's a reason why
we're not making
America great again is such like a disgusting phrase in and of itself, because we don't need things to go back or revert back to how the better days. You know what I mean? Because as we evolve, there's reasons we're evolving towards a certain way. But in me bringing up sexual exploitations and just how it's just part of our society, might as well bring up the whole MC Light thing. Another thing you were telling me about.
MC Galaxy.
MC Light, what the hell am I talking about?
MC Galaxy.
No disrespect to MC Light.
Yeah. We're talking about MC Galaxy.
MC Galaxy, go ahead. Tell me more.
Yeah, MC Galaxy. I mean, I don't know. He just has like a little social media stuff that he does to promote himself. Okay. He like does live videos who have like people or women on predominantly and just have them try to do stuff and like, oh, do this and do that. And the way I guess it works, I've never seen any of them, but the way it works is people on live give like suggestions. They're like, oh, take your shirt off, and like the girl like takes your shirt off type thing, and people were mad at him because they're like, oh, he's exploiting women, but then he's like, well, the women are getting paid. And they're doing it by choice. So it's not free. They're doing it by choice. I'm not doing anything to make them do it. You're seeing it live. And, like, yeah, this is feminism. This is what you want. You want women to have the power to do what they want, when they want, how they want, with their bodies.
But I will say, I think what gave people pause is that it looked like she, was saying, yes, I'll do it on video, but they think there was some more suspicious things going on in the background. Wasn't it suggested that maybe she took something, she was under the influence of something?
I know people said that. I mean, but that's, again, how can we
But you did that in your own right. Exactly, how can we determine that?
Like, and, like, even if she's on something, like, did she get onto something by herself?
By choice,
like, people that are on drugs, like, I mean, not to say, like, of course, I wouldn't really support, like, exploiting that if you know that's a weakness or whatever, but, I mean, at what point does it become... like on her versus on him. Like,
you're right.
As much as he has some blame in it, I can see how he's kind of like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm just trying to
make some money.
I'm trying to promote stuff. I'm trying to make noise.
Yeah.
This is a way that I think I can do it.
So
I have a willing participant. What are you mad about?
You don't think he should be chastised for doing what we all know works? Sex sells.
I generally don't really care about the whole story. Like, I don't even think it's...
Actually,
like, I don't think it's that interesting. I feel like people that are outraged are... They're mad, but they can't be mad. Like, they can't be mad at him as much as they want to be.
Exactly.
But he's a celebrity, so that's who you're going to be mad at. But
sure, but like shock factor is like the easiest form of promotion and like getting your name in the news and headlines. I can remember
back in the day, what's his name? What's the Bands That Make a Dance guy? Bands That Make a
2 Chainz?
No, not 2 Chainz.
Juicy J.
Juicy J. Yeah. Like, remember he had like, he was going to do like the contest and send someone to, like, people do all kinds of stupid stuff like that. The city girls had their twerk contest. Like, nobody was mad about that.
I just think, to me, if you think something is a little too ratchet, little too risque, little too much for you, just turn your eyes away.
You don't have to watch.
If it's adults being involved that clearly have full autonomy over the decisions,
there's consent.
You know,
I'm not really worried
move
about
on.
It.
But like, again, what I said earlier is that people think there might have been some suspicious things going on under G. So who knows? But assuming, from what we can tell, assuming everything is on the up and up, I don't think anybody really has a right to be upset with the man for making money how he makes his money.
I think it's something that obviously he should. I mean, if you look up to him as a person, role model, maybe you should be considered. But other than that, I'm not really worried about it.
Not too concerned. I agree.
Everything nice. I got some money in my pocket.
Okay. Moving on. I think we should get into some world politics. Specifically, we can start with the Burundi president and the stuff going on there.
Yeah, so I don't know if you heard, but in Burundi, an African country, right? It's like south of Rwanda, for those who don't know. They basically, there was like a whole story that came out recently where like 3 to 7 school children are basically facing jail time, or the prospects of jail time. Guess what the crime was?
I know already, so tell the audience.
Okay. Well, for those that don't know, they basically are charged with defacing a picture of the president.
Meaning, they are.
They have a textbook in school, and you know, like kids do, they doodled over the face of the president. Maybe political reasons, probably not political reasons.
Yeah, I mean, how old are they?
All these kids are under 18.
Okay.
I think it might be a range of kids. I don't know.
Okay.
But they're all under 18, and they might go to jail for this. And apparently, in 2011, some kids did go to jail for this.
Right.
So it's very likely that they will. And it's just kind of crazy. Like, could you imagine something like that?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but they aren't even like they're not a communist country or anything like that. Where
no, they're democratic. It's just one of those like democracies where the president wins by a margin that everyone says
pseudo democracy.
Then, like, I think his last election, I want to say he went basically uncontested because the opposing parties boycotted the elections, which I read and I was confused. So I was like, I mean, I understand like if you think it's a setup, but boycotting still seems like counterproductive.
Exactly. But I mean, well, if you guys are familiar with President Putin of Russia, same situation where we all know it's pseudo democracy. Like, the guy just has enough power in place that he's the president. So of course, when it comes to that, it's pretty much a dictatorship.
Yeah.
So if if you feel like people are against you in whatever capacity, you make things happen to shut that shit down. Because especially with kids, you want to make sure that it doesn't start infiltrating the school population at large.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't become like this running joke. He wants to be taken seriously. And the easiest way to get taken seriously in politics is fear, as we've heard.
Of course it is, but don't you think, like, at what point does it become, like, just unnecessary? Like, are you really that afraid of the, like, kids in school? Like, what are they about to do? Like, why are those the people that you're going after? Like, it just seems so crazy to me.
I'm just going to say, like, I don't know this man's mental state, but I'm just going to assume he overcompensates for something. And usually when you're overcompensating, there's insecurity somewhere. So I'm sure he realizes that I'm not in office on the up and up. Something's a little bit shady about how I'm here. And I'm overcompensating by making sure everybody who wants to maybe act out against it is put in their place, and quickly at that. And, you know, the easiest way to do it is to make examples out of people. And jail time is no joke. Nobody wants that. So you can't just, like, you know, speak out against them, throw them light punishments here and there. You go for the extreme. And if it worked in 2011, here we are again. I don't know. What do you think? Imagine if you were doodling on George Washington's picture in 10th grade or something.
It's just such
a
crazy thing. It's just a crazy thing.
Right?
I mean, I don't know. It just seems to me like African countries, for whatever reason, are more prone to have this kind of leaders. And I was just wondering, like, why do you think that is? Like, what is this something about us? Or are we just, like, young nations where we haven't gone past this phase of craziness that, like, maybe we're going to develop into it? Like, why do we always have this crazy situations with, like, the Cameroonian president has been there for 100 years and never wants to leave? Like, why do we have these guys lead us?
I don't even know that. I need a few poli-sci degrees to even begin to answer that question. But I'm just going to, I mean, you have a point there. 50-year-old countries, you know, or younger.
Or
maybe
younger.
A little bit later. Either way, they're young. I mean, America is 200 plus years old. So I guess there's something there, but the difference too is with America, they have a constitution they've abided by for 200 years. Some may say at fault. But either way, I can't think of a situation until now with Donald Trump where, you know, it just feels like an overwhelming gloom in the sense of politics and what's going on.
But even with that, though, like, even with the Constitution, like, let's say this Burundian president we're talking about, I think the Constitution was for, I think it's 5-year terms. And you have 2 terms, right? That was the max when he came into office. Naturally, when his second term was about to finish, he's like, "Oh, we're gonna change the Constitution." Like, what are you talking about?
Well, then I guess that's the answer right there.
Constitution and the judicial house or whatever, whoever is in charge of that, they approved it, and that's why he's still president.
I think that's the answer right there. Like, there's just too much power in the hands of the presidency.
So do you think that's something that the Constitution originally was weak? Or do you think that's something that is just the people?
I don't think it was weak. I think it was strong in theory. Like, because I'm sure it mimicked what other Western countries probably have in place. But the thing is, when you're dealing with overwhelmingly poor countries where, you know, the wealth disparity is quite large and there's just a lot acting against you, maybe your natural resources aren't up, whatever the case might be, you kind of put all of your hopes and dreams into one person, i.e. the president, and hope that they bring your country out of whatever, because you feel like there's nothing you can do to change it per se, and you put the trust almost failingly into somebody who's a lot of times there to benefit themselves. And not only is it that, okay, we might have these checks and balances in place, like the judiciary branch and whatever else, to make sure that, you know, the president doesn't have too much power, but it just takes him to make sure whoever he's appointing is on his side or whatever. And when you're in office, and I think that's why they try and limit it, but when you're in office for 10, 15 years, by the time you're leaving, the entire bench was appointed by you. You know what I mean? So it's like, again, maybe I need to go back to school. I need to read up a little bit more and listen to a bit more podcasts. I don't know what the root of all this evil is, but there is something to be said, for sure, about how all of these countries seem to be plagued by the same thing.
Do you think that, on the topic of politics in African countries, do you think that politics and culture intersect or divulge? Right? 'Cause I've heard the argument that democracy or certain types of political setups are not for certain kind of countries. Do you agree with that? Can you see any merit in that kind of argument?
Yeah, yes? I can because I think so many different types of forms of government have been put into work since the beginning of time, whether it's democracy, communism, totalitarian, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dictatorship, all of that.
Yeah.
We've tried them all, and time again, what seems to prevail is democracy. I just think, yes, there's some cultures that might be slower to adopting it, but, you know, given the time, given the resources, I do think, you know, we can see the benefits of it in, you know, African societies and cultures. It just might take a little bit longer than it might have taken with Americans. Because even with Americans, for example, we all started with this idea that church and state should be separate. But culturally speaking, we were in a time, at the time where the Constitution was put in place, where a lot of decisions and the backbone of the country was, I mean, in God we trust is on every piece of currency.
Like, it was, in theory, they said that.
In theory, they said it, but it was part. But you could say that, you know, there is some fault in the fact that, yes, they say church and state is separated, but it's still very much part of the society. And there's some fault in that, in the sense that, like, you know, all their religions or whatever weren't being treated. They were pushed down. I don't know what the right term is there.
Yeah, I mean, they picked a religion that was the majority and most popular. Exactly.
But obviously, we're kind of growing out of that to the point where now we have, like, a hijabi in Congress. So I do think, again, like, maybe we weren't as slow. The U.S. wasn't as slow to adopting democracy as some other countries will be. But they did. It's still like a work in progress. The Constitution has amendments for a reason. So everything is going to take time, is my point. But on a lighter note, in Algeria, right? Yeah. Actually, creative director, we need your help real quick. What's the name of the Algerian president that just...
Abdelaziz? Abdelaziz. Last name. Oh, she's scared.
She's shook. Look at her.
I can't pronounce this.
Come on, try.
Bouteflika?
We'll go with it.
Bouteflika?
Yeah, I can pronounce it.
Let's go with it.
That's what it sounds like.
Okay. So the Algerian president, he won a re-election for his 5th term, right? Because African countries, what we do,
what
5 terms. But all the people, basically the youth and, you know, younger people were basically like, yo, we're tired of you. So they went out on the streets, they protested. They're like, no, we don't want you anymore. And he actually agreed to step down. Which is good. It's a win.
Yeah.
But for a little more context, just so the win is like in proper context, he is like 82 years old. He's having health issues. Yeah. So he maybe just stepped down because of those issues. Maybe not necessarily just the protest. But it's still a win.
I'm inclined to believe that. You know, it was like, you know what? I'm frail. I'm old. I'm tired of fighting with these people. If they don't want me here, bye. I'm ready to go live the rest of my life out elsewhere.
I mean, it's just so crazy how people think that they have like a right to leadership. And like they kind of like they get in those positions and they feel like they own the country.
Correct.
Like it's my country. Like, have you seen the thing with we're about to go like super off track, but with Venezuela? Right?
Yes, I've been following that.
That like doesn't want to go,
and
like,
everybody, like, not only are the people in the streets and the citizens of the country saying bye, all the other countries or a lot of the other countries in the world are like, hey, we don't recognize you either.
Everyone is like, yeah, you're not the president, but the guy's like dancing on the streets, like, I'm the president till somebody says otherwise. I mean, it's gonna make a really good movie, but it just really sucks for the people that live in that country right now.
Like King of Scotland Part 2.
Hostage. Like,
they
can't like, he wouldn't even let them get food.
Yeah.
Because he, like, if I let food come into the country, then I have less power. Like, how crazy is that?
Has me shook. I don't know. I mean, it just gives you a huge sigh. You know, it feels almost hopeless, but we'll see where it goes. You know, it's not just Algeria, it's not just Venezuela, it's not just, you know, all these countries in Africa. It's just it's everywhere. It's Russia. It's
everywhere. It's scary what power does.
It's scary what power does. You know, we'll just take it one day at a time, as we've already been doing.
There's hope, guys.
Everything nice.
Likewise, I'm gonna fuck about your football. I know you want to talk about Arsenal or whatever.
All right, let's talk about something random. So I saw this video that had like the top 5 richest Nigerian musicians.
They got the bag.
Yeah,
got the money.
Like, are rich. That's who you should be chasing.
Okay,
ladies.
I know, right?
Yeah, so on the list, if I remember correctly, it was Wizkid, of course. This is in no particular order. Okay. There is an order, but I don't remember.
Okay.
There was Wizkid.
Yeah.
Davido.
Okay.
Two-Face.
Okay.
D'banj. Don Jazzy.
You know what? I think Don Jazzy, out of the people you just named, is number one.
Yeah.
I don't know about the rest of them, where they fall. Yeah, Don Jazzy is making that monies, but I guess it has to do with the fact that he's a producer heavily. For a lot.
Are you surprised by any names on the list?
I mean, Two-Face, maybe?
Two-Face, okay.
Just because his relevance is not too popping right now. Like,
what? He's been around for a long time.
You're right.
And he's like,
so he accumulated
remember, like,
wealth.
was like the artist, like he was the only
he was
artist.
the one.
Like he's like a legend.
Yes, you're right. So I'm sure like whatever sponsorships or maybe his songs are used in commercials or
like,
like
movies. He had like
true.
What's that song? African Queen was in.
Yep.
Was one of those. Damn,
I mean, that is the song, like,
what's
of
the movie
Africa.
with Monique in the shop? Remember his song was in there, like it became a thing.
Is it Beauty Shop?
It's not Beauty Shop. That's Queen Latifah.
Oh.
Anyway, he's like
yeah. No, you're right. So I'm sure from the residuals, just accumulated wealth in other fashions. But I'm just saying, like, relevance wise, probably on the bottom of that list. Who else was on the list?
Relevance wise, Two-Face.
No, okay, no. I mean, like, musically, like, what's popping in the club right now?
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you know Amaka?
No, but like, I'm saying, like,
do you know Amaka?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Did she not disappoint you? How are you gonna say Two-Face is not relevant? Two-Face just had like the biggest song of last year, basically. He's still relevant.
Okay, fine. You know what? I stand corrected. I'm not even. That's why I said, well, who else was on the list? You asked me who am I surprised by. What do you want me
I'm not mad that you're surprised by it.
Okay.
Just don't tell me that.
Okay, I'm sorry. All my Two-Face lovers out there. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the camera saying I'm sorry.
Hasn't really put any music that people cared about that much. Like Two-Face is up there.
Oh, that's why I was asking who else was on the list. Maybe if you helped me instead of chastising me.
I gave you the list.
Okay, whatever. D'banj then. Yes, you're right. Him, relevance-wise, out of the people you named, is probably lowest on the list.
This point,
so I'm surprised by him for sure too.
If you had to guess, who would you think is like sixth? I mean, we don't know, so we're just making a guess. I'm sure someone out there knows, but we don't know during this conversation. Who would you think is sixth?
See, I don't want to answer based off of like who's popping in these streets, like Burna Boy, obviously. I don't know, maybe someone who's also been in the industry for a long time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe like, no, I don't think it's this person, but Wande Cole.
Wande Cole could be up there. He could be up there because he has a lot of hits.
He does.
Wande Cole could be up there. I could see Wande Cole. Burna Boy, I feel like I wouldn't think him
he's
just
too
because
new, right?
He's not even that new, but I feel like he wasn't maybe making as much money like until very recently.
Like you said, his reign is still,
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily think its inception. But another, to kind of switch gears, since we're talking about Nigerian artists and stuff. So last weekend, I was having a couple of conversations with a couple of friends, and I was very surprised by what the conversation turned to.
Let's hear it.
And I want to hear your opinion. So first question. Who do you think is a bigger artist today?
Yeah.
Techno or Olamide?
Oh. I'm scared to answer that.
Answer the question.
You're judgmental.
You can't be wrong, because I thought it was one person, and the person I was arguing was like, I was crazy for thinking that. And then he pulled up some stats that made me look crazy, but then, of course, I dispute some of those stats.
Olamide.
You think Olamide is bigger?
Yeah.
Miriam, who do you think? Techno and Olamide. Pay attention to us. Olamide is bigger? Of course. Yo, that's what I thought.
Okay, I was scared that you were
like, nah, Techno is bigger.
Really?
But also to add some context, obviously I'm Yoruba, he's Igbo.
Yeah.
And I think we don't realize that maybe like Olamide might not be as big as like in other parts of Nigeria that we don't necessarily go to.
True.
But I would think Olamide is bigger too. But he like pulled up YouTube views, which maybe is not the best source to compare them. But it is like a reference. Techno's views are like 96 mil. Olamide's views are like 30 mil.
Techno is with Sony Music.
Yes.
Okay,
he's more international. Exactly.
Yeah,
so that was what I ended up arguing. Was like, I feel like Techno is more international,
but in Nigeria,
bigger.
Yeah.
But it's like, if he's more international, doesn't that mean he's kind of bigger?
Yeah. No, because like I think number one on the list overall, like not Nigerian artist, is Akon, for instance. He's making the most money. He probably does have the highest name recognition. He's the most relevant, whatever, because he is an international pop star, if you will. But to the culture, there's a difference there. So the culture, we wouldn't say that Akon is contributing as much now as he did maybe 10 years ago.
That's
so true. I would say probably the same with Techno Olamide.
I just thought it was so interesting because I just had
that is interesting.
Like when it came up to me, like kind of how you guys said, like I just thought it was obvious.
I thought so too. That's why I was scared to answer. I'm like, is there I felt like there was a trick question there. I thought it was Techno based off of the fact that you even asked the question.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm like,
but it just made me rethink that. And then a couple other people that asked, they were also Iba were like, no, Techno is bigger. And then I started thinking, they made the argument to me that I think Olamide is bigger because I'm Yoruba and like I have like a different connection to Olamide than maybe they do. But and I can kind of see that, right? Because Olamide was like kind of like the biggest Yoruba rapper at the time, and like all of his music is in Yoruba, so like it's a different, you know.
I think that probably hinders him or like handcuffs.
It probably does exactly internationally. So I don't know. It was just interesting.
That is very interesting.
That it was even an argument. I thought it was just obvious at the time.
Yeah.
Another thing we had an argument about, but this one is probably a little harder. We're gonna come up with a list because I've been having this conversation with multiple people.
Okay.
Of like who are like
we should have them on these ghost people.
Nigerian artists.
Okay.
Because would you say Fowls is like a top 10 Nigerian artist today?
In top 10.
What do you think, Miriam?
I think top 10, maybe.
Fowls, top 10 Nigerian.
Yeah.
Maybe lower end of the top 10 spectrum.
Because
should be, but
no, not should be. Is. We're asking, is he like top
10?
Do
you think we can name 9 people that are above him?
So what you say should be, like his music is good enough, but maybe he's not on that level in terms. Okay, I can agree with that because I feel like maybe because I just like his music, I'm like Fowls is top 10. But then we started making a list. I'm like,
I was gonna say, can we name 9 people above him? And I'm sure we could if we
Techno,
tried.
Olamide, Wizkid, Burna Boy,
Davido.
That's it. Yeah, Davido. That's like 5 right there.
Mac W.
No, Mac W's not
he's
big
not
right now. He's not
we're
bigger than him. Right now,
he just had that one album.
Yeah. No. Oh, Mr. Easy. Do you think Mr. Easy is?
Yeah, I think he's above him. Yeah.
Who else is there? Damn, there's so many names.
Who's like touring right now? I feel like that's a huge indicator too.
Do you think Kenny is bigger than him right now?
No.
Okay, we'll say not Tenny.
Simi maybe?
You think Simi's bigger than him?
Yeah, I think so.
I think they go maybe. Yeah.
All the people I put them in the same place. Yeah. I think they're all like the same.
I don't know. We should actually.
Fino's bigger than him.
Yeah, we should actually come up with a list.
We should do this and we should compare.
Because
I just thought it was very interesting because you never know what other people think, and I just realized that what I was thinking versus what other people were thinking.
Yeah,
I'm like in a bubble. Like I kind of think like what I listen to is like the biggest thing.
Yeah,
and,
same. I have. Yeah, you have that biased effect.
Yeah, like I was very surprised because to me like Foz is like, oh yeah, Foz is top 10.
Of course, because that's what's in your ears a lot. You know,
exactly.
like
that's what I like. That's what I appreciate.
Proximity bias, actually.
Even though they're not together.
Yeah, I don't know. We had that argument. I had that argument with my friend too because I was like, P Square. I was like, they're not relevant right now. But then he was like, oh, P Square. Yeah, but I don't know. I wouldn't put them up there.
But speaking of relevant music, I know Wizkid is doing his whole rollout right now.
Yeah.
We talked about him releasing a song I think a couple weeks ago now.
Yeah,
now
so
he has another one.
He did he hasn't actually released a song. He did like an Instagram live video.
Yeah.
Where he was
like a snippet.
He was in the studio smoking his little blunt. He was, vibing out.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, guys, this music is crazy.
Oh, Tiwa. Okay,
is Tiwa bigger than Fowls?
Yes. Come on.
Yemi Alade is bigger. Who's bigger, Yemi Alade or Tiwa Savage?
Tiwa.
Come on.
Yo, you think so?
Yes.
Yemi Alade is bigger than her.
But internationally. But then, is it fair that we're using that
What's Tiwa Savage's best song?
Ooh. But
no, what's her best? Her number one song.
Yeah, he wants to compare that to Yemi
Alade.
Yeah.
I literally, I was driving Uber back in the day. I drove a random black guy, and he was like,
that side hustle.
I love Yemi Alade. He was like, yeah, I love the girl. I can't remember her name. I don't know how he described her, but I knew it was Yemi Alade, and I was like,
it's true though.
Yemi Alade is out here.
Hit-wise, I will say she supersedes Tiwa, but name recognition and international appeal, because Tiwa started off on the western side of things.
It doesn't even matter. I still think Yemi Alade is like a little more.
Yeah, I think you might be having that proximity bias again.
I want to put MI in that conversation because MI is not like a. It's kind of like someone that's. And
you keep forgetting right now. Not like at their height. Not at the height of them.
Someone that's like top 10.
Yeah.
Even their old songs can still be like relevant here. You know what I mean? Like.
No, but I think that I wouldn't think MI is top 10 biggest.
But we
at the
appreciate you give us all the names. I like it. I
moment.
like it.
Like I wouldn't think of him.
Yeah.
But definitely we appreciate MI. Yeah. Oh, Wande Cole. I didn't say Wande Cole.
Coming up
She's coming.
She's coming. Yeah.
Does she have a new song?
No, but like
the designer.
She does. When did it come
out?
out?
That's not that new. Yeah, with Stars.
Yeah. But she had a remix with what's it called, South African.
Okay.
Artist, so.
She's really good. I like her.
She's very good.
You asked me something before we got distracted again.
I was just talking about Wizkid.
Wizkid. Yeah, we're talking about he did his Instagram live video, whatever. I think it was a song called Gaga. That's what people are saying.
Yeah.
Sounded really good. And
you can never trust those snippets though. You don't know.
Yeah, no, but I mean it's Wizkid. Wizkid never has really bad music.
He rarely misses. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like he's gonna release music this year. Album maybe at the end of the year or something. Exactly. It's been a while.
Finally.
So that was just kind of a big thing. People were hype and excited about that.
Yeah.
And he said like a couple people that he has songs with that he mentioned. He said he has a song with Burna Boy, which I'm sure will be fire. He has a song with Tenny. Those are like the two biggest names I remember.
Okay.
But yeah, are we excited for Wizkid?
I am very excited. I mean, again, we've been on a drought right now. So I'd love to hear some new Wizkid
Before we go, what artists have you like not heard music from recently that you like really want to hear music from that you're waiting for?
Specific to Nigerian music?
It doesn't have to be Nigerian.
Oh, easy. Rihanna.
Oh, true.
Riri, baby. Okay. I've been waiting so patiently. It's been like 3 years.
Is there any
since
hints that anything is coming out?
Yeah. No, like it's apparently bubbling on the surface that we're going to get something this year. Apparently it's supposed to be very dance hall heavy.
Oh, yeah, I did hear that. It was going to be dance hall and Afrobeats type thing.
We don't have to stay on this topic at all, but you saw what Sean Paul said about how dance hall
I didn't see it, but I saw the video, and I basically just saw that it said that Afrobeats basically is birthed
out of dance hall.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
I don't know if I have an answer because again, I think I need to do a little bit more studying and into the music theory. I mean, Africa has been here forever, but what we call Afrobeats isn't necessarily what traditional African music has been. And then same with Caribbean music.
I think that I don't know what right, but only barely right in that there's a segment of African music or Afrobeats that is like from dancehall. Like let's say like Padarankin maybe, or maybe a Timaya maybe. But most of it is not. Like
there's a clear distinction.
Exactly, you can tell the difference.
But
and it doesn't
that's not to say they're not borrowing from each other. I just can't say.
Of course, they borrow from each other.
I feel like the answer is based off of which one is first or which one was first.
I don't think it's based on which one is first because just because one is first doesn't mean that the second one comes from it.
No, but I guess that's his point. He thinks that like Afrobeats is somehow birthed from.
That's what I'm trying to say because just because Afrobeats comes after dancehall doesn't mean that Afrobeats
had any influence. You're right. Exactly. Maybe it was its own
like saying
thing.
Afrobeats came from rock and roll.
Yeah,
because rock and roll was first. Like,
you're right. You're right.
Yeah, so I
don't know how I feel about that.
I can see where he's coming from his perspective, but I think he's wrong. I don't think we're not doing dancehall like it's different music.
Yeah.
Like I can't even listen to 2 hours of dancehall music. I would get like if it was kind of similar, I probably could, but I can't. Like I'll get tired of it.
So true. Okay. So, are you waiting for anybody?
I mean, I can't think of anyone. Wizkid, since we just talked about him. Burna Boy released like a little EP of sorts recently, like this weekend actually.
I actually haven't heard it.
It sounds okay. It was kind of like very like
lukewarm.
Not lukewarm, but just like very quiet.
Okay.
Like it's vibes.
It's not turn up.
No, it's not turn. I mean, but his music's never really turn up.
Turn up, yeah.
But it's like it feels like extra.
He
turned
sprinkles
down.
the turn up in there.
Yeah, it's extra turned down. Okay. But it's cool though. It's cool. It wasn't anything that like made me go crazy. Like but it's it's good Burna Boy music, but it's not like the next
thing.
So, okay. But sometimes Burna Boy music takes like a minute for me to get
digest.
Yeah, sometimes like the first time.
Yeah, because it is very experimental in nature. You just try different things.
All the girls just so good.
I like that.
Everything nice.
So before we leave for the day, I guess we should just give out some shout outs and praise the people.
Yeah. So this is a new segment we're going to try to do once in a while, maybe all the time. Just a quick shout out to everyone that supports us and everyone that's popping and everyone that we support that's doing something cool out there. Yeah. So yeah, who are we going to shout out?
Okay, let's start with our Instagram. Let's start with our Instagram because I did notice that we have a good amount of followers, especially those that are communicating with us and giving us good feedback and also shouting us out. We could start with Vanessa Knowles. Vanessa, she put us out there. She actually gave us great feedback. She gave us some positive reinforcement on her page. Mr. Cuckoo, another guy who shouted us out. That was really nice. Case Bleak. He provided us some feedback, awesome feedback, actually, that could be implemented. And then it's Leonie, because she's always on our page, giving us feedback, liking posts. So we definitely respect that.
Definitely. Thanks, guys. We love all the love and support.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah,
and
keep listening. Keep shouting us out.
Yeah.
We are going to get to everyone eventually.
Yeah, so if you shout us out, we'll definitely do the same for you guys. And feel free, to pass along the knowledge of this podcast and get some more people in the family. Yeah. But yeah, did we have any?
So some people, just a couple people that we kind of saw do something cool. Adesua. Adesua is in cover Vogue. Yeah, that's a pretty good look. Shout outs to her. Yeah. What's that guy's name? The 8-year-old boy that
Tani Tolua, right? Tani Tolua. Is that his name? Okay.
Yeah, 8-year-old kid. Read about it. Basically was able to get his family out of poverty.
Yeah,
so that's
he was amazing at chess or something, and through that he was able to take his family out of homelessness.
Yeah, amazing story, very inspirational. Yeah,
super cool.
Yeah. Those are the two major people. Damn, there's one more person I want to shout out. Who else did I want to shout out?
Come on.
Yeah. Oh, Chief Daddy. I mean, that's not a person. But I saw that on Netflix. Go watch that. It was pretty funny.
Was it?
Yeah, it was good.
Okay.
Cool.
There's that Idris show too that I need to try.
Yeah, Uncle Charlie. It's called.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, so big things happening. Thanks for listening, guys.
Yep.
Keep the follows and likes and interaction. We love it.
I feel good, All the girls just so good. Everything nice. I feel good, I feel good, I feel nice. I feel nice. I feel good, I feel good, everything nice. I turn the night to her birthday. Bottles on ice. I tell her friends that it's okay. Come through for the night.